Well, a couple of minutes ago, when we first got on the comms with each other here, you asked me how I was, and I said good. And that's not dishonest. It's not true.
That is a lie.
But it goes deeper. There's more to it. I am exhausted. I'm so freaking. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. I'm rocking a coffee in front of me here. So right now it's 11 a.m. By the time I got home from work and wound down for half an hour, it was 4:30 this morning.
And I totally get that because so I think it's interesting because I think you and I are polar opposites in your work requires you to be out
Super
till wee hours of the morning, and mine is the opposite. I start earlier, but I feel like I can get the whole because it was a little thing that you buried in there, but when you get home and then you have to kind of decompress for 30 minutes because even if you work late, it's not that you can just go home and hit the pillow. You just need to mentally exhale.
Yeah, well, I came home and edited a podcast.
Well, there you go.
Do you know what else is another difference between you and me? And this is not it's not one of us is better or one of us is more loyal or whatever than the other. I find it's interesting to me is that on 4 hours of sleep, my mentality is, wow, this is the time that we have this week in order to record the podcast. So I'm gonna get a coffee into me and wake up, and it's just gonna be one of those 4 hour sleep nights. Whereas I feel like if roles were reversed and I was hey man, this morning's really the only time that I think we can get together and record this podcast, you'd be I think
not a chance.
Yeah, we might just have to skip this week. I've only gotten 4 hours of sleep and blah blah blah.
Full disclosure, I would be not only not today, but we might be taking next week off too.
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever. I get whatever the example is. Yeah.
And what's funny is and in that situation, I'd be super understanding. But there is there's just a small part of me that would be oh come on, you moron. I'd be up and come on, strap on the drink your kombucha and eat your Wheaties and let's pitter patter, man. But
and I wonder too if it also, we're getting deep into the weeds and we have introduced the show and then we'll get deeper into this.
Hello and welcome
to the Batman.
To the Batman.
To the Movie Med Podcast. I am Peter and that is Brady. I think it also...
Oh, I'm disappointed. Normally you give me some sort of adjective. And today was perfect because I'm exhausted. My
coffee-loving friend is Brady.
Coffee, I'm basically coffee snorting at this point. I'm if I knew how and wasn't aware, look, I really don't have any medical science background, but I'm pretty sure intravenous coffee is probably one of those you die real quick kind of things. So, but if it wasn't, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah. I feel so jumping back into what we were talking about, I feel it's also why it's one of the weird things that we even have a podcast, because you are very, well, I think it speaks into our personalities because you are very into the entertainment sector, the content creation sector, and just as a human being, you like to talk. You like human interaction.
I get it.
And I do too.
Up.
I do too. But there are times that just talking exhausts me. And so I think if I'm ever on the fence, in the example you give, I'm just you know what? My introverted, how talking to people drains me. If I'm ever on the fence, that's why I'm just you know what? Boom.
Yeah.
I'm ghosting.
Yeah. But, have you ever taken, just out of curiosity, have you ever taken caffeine pills?
No, I haven't. like many human beings, I consume caffeine beverage wise, but I have not just popped a pill, so to speak.
Yeah, and neither have I. And I think part of it, like, really what it boils down to me is it's like it makes it, I don't know, it like, for me, it like bridges the gap between like, oh, I consume caffeine to making it like, oh, I have a caffeine dependency. Do you know, like, if I'm like, oh, I really need some caffeine, well, this is a fantastic moment to enjoy a nice coffee or you know, treat myself to an energy drink or like whatever it is. Like I'm going to get a flavor that comes along with this, right? Where if it's just like, oh, I need caffeine, I'm gonna take this pill with some water and wait for it to kick in. I don't know, that's boring.
I agree. Just because even like foodies or, you know, there's the people that live to eat or eat to live. And there are the people that are like, okay, I'm a bodybuilder, so I'm eating this many grams of protein and et cetera and carbs and whatever. And so it's like it's a science, and that's how they eat. As with, there are the people that are like, I'm here to enjoy the food, like whether it's the varieties of flavors and colors and tastes and textures. And kind of like with you, it's like when it becomes a science where you're popping like, hey, I'm due for my caffeine supplement, I'm just going to pop that. Like, no, it's like, hey, I want to savor and like sip on this beverage to A, perk me up, but B, just have like these momentary moments of just enjoyment. If
they started making burger patties with acetaminophen in it, I'd do away with Tylenol. I wouldn't need, you know, I'd be like, I got a headache or I'm kind of sore or whatever, and I need some pain relief. All right, fire up the grill.
I feel like that is that would be a dangerous road to go down.
I feel like you'd need these are not that you need a prescription for acetaminophen normally, but I feel like you would need a prescription for burgers, Tylenol burgers. Yeah.
And now I'm picturing like just how everything that's prescription controlled is like abused and like sold on the streets. I'm picturing some guy in a trench coat in an alley being like, "Hey kid, want some burgers? Like, want some burgers?" And he's like, "No, my mom says burgers are bad."
Do you remember was it the Burt Reynolds, Adam Sandler, the remake of The Longest Yard, the football movie?
Yeah.
And Terry Crews's character in that is like, his job is he's like smuggling McDonald's in. He's got like Big Macs for days or whatever. That's totally what I'm picturing. You just be like the burger guy. Anyways, we're here for a reason.
We're here because this is our MO, our bread and butter of the podcast. One of the things that we're known for is votes, letting the audience vote and tell us what to review. So we go year by year back in time and give various film options for the audience to tell us and give their feedback. And whether you're the lay fan, who we still appreciate and give their votes, or our Patreon supporters who have bonus votes and their votes count for exponentially more based on our tiers that you can see on Patreon. The link is below. We let the audience choose, and this week was a vote, the third vote from 1993, where we had films such as Schindler's List and What's Eating Gilbert Grape, coincidentally, the Super Mario Brothers, 1993, and then the ultimate winner, The Secret Garden.
Why is that coincidental?
Because you're super. And I'm super.
And we're both Italian.
Yes. Well, I mean, I like pasta, so. As you're alluding to, you know, a lot of people were commenting on it saying, hey, you know, if this wins, you should review Super Mario Brothers and the new Mario movie that is out in theaters today.
Which is specifically why you were rooting against it. You're like, hell to the no.
It would have been a real ethical dilemma if it had won. I would have been like, oh gosh.
You're like, you know, all's fair or all things being equal, and, you know, like really really we like to put our best foot forward and appease the audience but no, to hell with that. Yeah, that was I think kind of the mentality.
Yeah.
The Secret Garden won.
Yeah, but it was quite well received. Schindler's List, you and I talked about it. For
Not
some reason,
a
it just
vote.
wasn't a hot commodity in this vote.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, maybe it was too heavy, but that doesn't seem like, I don't know. It's like, it's like Citizen Kane. Well, yeah,
right.
It's like a
acclaimed.
It's a heavy film, but sit down and watch Citizen Kane. Like, come on. Like, I've yet to see Schindler's List. And so that's on
the to-do.
I was kind of hoping. Because it's kind of one of those things that, like, it's on my list and I know I have to watch it, but I'm never in the mood to watch it.
Right.
I'm never in the mood to take that on.
Yes, I get it.
And so being given having that decision removed from me would have been like the perfect excuse to finally see it.
This is the time, yeah.
So, yeah, but not meant to be.
Yeah. What's Eating Gilbert Grape got a decent response, but the real two heavyweights were Super Mario Brothers and then ultimately The Secret Garden, which until this vote I had never even heard of the film, and then when I found out it was based on a book, I had never heard of the book either. So this was completely foreign to me.
Which is ludicrous to me. Like, it's actually genuinely ludicrous to me that you don't know this. So yeah, it's a 1911 novel by Francis Hodgins Burnett. It's like a hugely acclaimed book.
Yeah.
It's not some like, little rinky dink. And there's been, as I was kind of talking about with you, like the first movie version of this book was made in 1919. So 8 years after the release of the book. There's a 1949 one.
I knew about the 49. I didn't know about the earlier one. That's insane.
Obviously, there's this 1993 one. There's a really kind of low budget 2017 one. Then there's a 2020 one. And then there's been there's a 1960 TV serial, a 1987 TV movie. There's a 1994 animated version of it, which is actually on YouTube, and I was able to track down. And then there was between 1991 and 1992, in Japan, there was an anime adaptation. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So it's and then there's been we can get into radio productions of it over the years. We can get into stage productions of it. We can get into it's like it's a very iconic book. So I'm also surprised when I hadn't heard of it either. And so that's the type of thing is because I was sitting down when I sat down to watch this. I'd seen this years and years and years and years and years ago, and we'll get into the history of my connection to this. But you may look at a film from an outsider perspective. For you coming in, you may look at the 1993 Secret Garden, and you might think to yourself, what drew Maggie Smith to this? Like, how do you land Maggie Smith? And ultimately what it would come down to is, Maggie Smith, I'm sure, would have been well aware of the source material. And Mrs. Medlock is like, again, it's an opportunity to play. It's not on the same level as, but it's kind of like asking someone, do you want to take a crack at the Joker? Right. Well, and it's nowhere near to the same level, but it's kind of one of those, this is a well-known, interesting, fictional character that there's been several interpretations of, several adaptations of. And so do you want to be the next one, right? Or you know what it would be like? And again, it doesn't have near the same popularity as Christmas Carol, but it'd be like saying, "Do you want to be Jacob Marley?"
And that's what I was going to say. To me, I think it more sounds like a situation where it's Michael Caine, where in that case, you know, he did it because his children were interested in the Muppets. Maybe in this case, she, whether it was for family members or just being part of a childhood narrative, I think that's probably part of it, right?
Or really, I mean, the book came out in 1911, so when you know,
maybe she grew up with the story.
Yeah, if it came out in 1911 and Maggie Smith was born in
probably not
1934.
The 34. Okay. Yeah.
So, it's quite
maybe she grew up with it.
Possibly because it is, I think, at its heart, like it's a 375 page book. It's no little itty bitty, like, you know, your kids sit and read it before bed kind of book. But I think it is technically probably a children's novel. I don't know. I'm not seeing anything here that specifically says it's a children's novel. It's definitely a child-friendly story.
Yeah.
And a lot of the film adaptations I've seen, definitely they've geared it to be sort of that family kind of film. But yeah, it's also like even the dialogue, like some of the dialogue in this is actually the dialogue in the movie, which at times is very thick and sort of indicative of this period of time in England, is actually kind of dumbed down from the novel. Like it's a thick read. It's not like reading Shakespeare, but it's also not easy to get through if you're, you know, like I remember the first time I was in grade 3 when I first discovered this book, knew about this book, and yeah, like it had to be explained to me, what is a moor? Right?
Right.
It's like this hill out, you know, the hill out, or this house that's out in the middle of the moor. Well, what the hell's a moor? Right? And so yeah, it's got a lot of language in it that is not stuff that we would use today. I'm going to take a stab and say that you probably don't have trivia. Is that
not for this puppy? No.
Yeah. Son of a bitch. Okay. That's no. It's. I mean, it is what it is. It's, you know, you letting the fans down, but don't feel bad about it, right? Like you screwed up royally, but just I don't want you to feel.
You have to follow. You have to follow the gut, and for me, like say when we were doing Jurassic Park, my gut was feeling trivia. For this film, I was not feeling it. So
I have 2 questions for you then.
Interesting.
Yeah, what well-known actor turned down the role of Colin Craven? Was offered the role and said, not for me.
Now, could you remind me Colin Craven again?
The super sick, not so sick, pale, pasty cousin.
Oh, okay. So for some reason, I thought if it was the uncle, then I was going to say Sean Connery. I don't know. I guess I'll just go with a sign of the times and just be like Macaulay Culkin.
That's a good guess, but no, he would have been. I think he would have been a bit too. Well, I was going to say a bit too
young.
Yeah. No, I mean maybe he would have been age appropriate.
It would have been borderline.
Yeah. No, you're wrong.
Who is it?
Elijah Wood. Can you imagine those blue eyes with that pale skin, those blue eyes shining through?
Yeah. I think my 2 thoughts are, 1, that checks out because, you know, I'm picturing him in Forever Young with Mel Gibson, and so that's around the same period, so that checks out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also picturing Return of the King, how much of a whiny brat he was in that film. And so that checks out for this film when he's being a whiny brat.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm just kidding. That's actually a joke. I do like Elijah Wood.
One more question. Are you ready, sir?
I hope so.
And this is, I'll give you multiple choice. I realized the last one was kind of...
Oh, no. Yeah.
What well-known actress auditioned for the role of Mary Lennox? Was it A, Kristen Stewart, B, Kirsten Dunst,
Oh.
C, wait, where's my list here?
Morgan Freeman.
Because I'm not even sure who it actually was.
And D.
okay.
Sean Connery.
No, I got this. Or C, Lindsay Lohan.
Okay. I feel like Lindsay Lohan is too young.
Okay.
I'm
I don't
probably
even
gonna
know.
say
I don't even know when she was born. Lindsay.
my thoughts are like Kirsten Dunst was a child actor around this time in Interview with a Vampire, so that kind of checks out. But I'll go with Kristen Stewart. Or did you say Kirsten Bell or Kristen Stewart?
Kristen Stewart. Yeah,
I'll go with
like
Kristen
Bella from Twilight.
Oh wait, sorry, never mind. I thought you meant in my mind I pictured Kristen Bell. Okay, I'll go with Mary Jane Watson, the old.
You are correct. Actually, Lindsay Lohan would have been
a uterus or in a uterus.
No, she would have been carry the one. She would have been 9. No.
Oh,
8.
Yeah.
She would have been 8. So not out of the question.
Mm-hmm.
Kristen Stewart would have been 3. Yeah, that's a hard sell. That's it's a little tricky to, you know. It's a little tough. But yeah, so there you have it. There you have it. So let's hop into this. Can we talk about cast before we go any further?
Of course.
So as previously mentioned, we have the wonderful Maggie Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Is Maggie Smith? Yeah, she's from Essex, right? Like she's British.
She is British. I don't know where she's from, but yeah.
Is it? Is it? And I'm just not. How is it not? It's not. How? Oh no, it is. Okay, perfect. I was like, how is it not Dame Maggie Smith? But it is. She is a dame. Okay. Because I was like, I at this point, you know, like you think Dame Judi Dench, you think stuff like that, right? And you're like, Maggie Smith to me is in that conversation, right? Like you don't have an actress like Maggie Smith from your country, from a country that is known for knighting people and giving people, I don't know what damehood or whatever it is,
right?
And not, you know, not tap her shoulders with a sword at some point. Like she belongs in that conversation. So the wonderful Maggie Smith, who, even though this film is 30 years old now, still looks like she's 80 in this. Like, I don't know.
She looks the same age in. I'm basing this off of like Harry Potter in this because that's like 90% of what I've seen her in.
I mean, Harry Potter at this point, to be fair, is only like 7 years off. So there's not a huge age difference.
That's actually true.
But
I feel like, but I'm still going to say that in my mind, she's always looked like that. She's like your grandparent.
Always been old.
She's like a grandparent that you never realize, you know, as a child, you're like, oh, they were never young. They were never children. They were just always 70 years old.
Like nobody remembers. It's like Helen Mirren. Do you remember? I mean, Helen Mirren's been acting since she was like 20.
Interesting.
Do you know any young Helen Mirren movies? No.
None.
Right? Betty White.
Right.
Wasn't Betty White just always old? Like, you know, it's kind of one of those. And I don't mean that in an insulting way. It's like was that's part of the charm. That's really Maggie Smith is really where the super recognizable cast members kind of come to an end.
Right.
You have Kate Mabberley playing Mary Lennox. Now Kate's gone on to do a bunch of different things. She was in Finding Neverland with Johnny Depp and Kate Winslet. So that's not nothing. That's kind of, I would say, next to The Secret Garden, that's kind of it for her big iconic roles. Or like, you know, a high-end movie. There's like Boogeyman 3, and yeah, stuff like that. The last thing she acted in did come out this year. It was called 1066, but it looks like it's like, I don't, some ridiculous. It looks like, I'm looking at the poster for it, and it's like a Viking movie. And you know when a movie comes out that's like, oh, it's the snow, you know, they'll release, or like when Little Mermaid comes out in a couple of weeks or whatever it is, right? When Little Mermaid comes out, you know there'll be like 17 low budget knockoff films that also come out about the Little Mermaid at the same. It looks like that. It looks like it's not actually it looks like a knockoff movie. So she hasn't been in a lot of big, crazy, important things. Andrew Knott played Dickon, the friend, Martha's younger brother, the animal tamer.
Never heard of him.
The kid that just carries 3-day-old sheep around like it's no big deal. Yeah, he was in an episode of Black Mirror. Babylon. Like, it looks like he's just done a bunch of TV work.
Okay.
But like one episode of Babylon, not like, you know, he's not like the Babylon guy. He was in Black Beauty immediately following The Secret Garden. So it looks like he kind of had one of those trajectories where it was like, oh, this kid might turn into something. We're going to put him in some big things. And then I don't know if he got ugly or what it was, but they just stopped like casting it. Well, that's what they do with children actors, right? They're like, you know, you're not as cute as you were.
Right.
Right? When's the last time you saw Haley Joel Osment in something? Or Mara Wilson? Or Macaulay Culkin, for that matter, right? It's Hollywood's so they're so shallow, so, you know. And then really the only other big one is Hayden Prowse played Archibald Craven, Uncle Craven, and he's been in a small smattering of things that don't really matter and no one should care about. So that's kind of the cast in a nutshell.
Initial impressions?
Oh, yeah.
Boy?
I told you I'm tired, right? I'm exhausted.
That's okay.
Look, this film for me has my review is tainted by nostalgia. Right? My review isn't tainted. My ability to approach this objectively is tainted by nostalgia. I not only owned this film as a kid, but the same teacher I've talked about in the past, the same teacher that read The Hobbit to me and introduced me to the world of Tolkien.
Oh, neat.
Read us The Secret Garden, and then subsequently showed us this film and the 87 TV film. So I grew up, this is like, for me, this is a foundational piece of literature, this book. It is one of the core pillars that has built my taste in literature, because it was, you know, one of the first, within the first three, like, actual, not a Robert Munch or Dr. Seuss book that I was exposed to. And so it's important to me in that sense. It's a better book than it is a movie. And that's, I think, often the case with book to film adaptations. There's some things that they kind of have to brush over. There's some things that they have to kind of cut out and just like speed up real quick, right? We'll get into the fact that at 10 years old, he's never used his legs, and 36 hours later, he's running, skipping, and jumping.
Yeah.
That's a much
like,
longer...
The legs aren't just like pieces of like bone with skin on
like
top.
Useless. Like they don't even need to be amputated. They've kind of just fallen off on their own. Right? Like, the bed sores that this kid would have, his legs would be all like necrotic, and it's. Right. But that's something that, like, it's a much longer process in the movie makes it look like it's, a day and a half. Yeah, it's a miracle.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, drink, eat your greens. But having said that, I do still think that this is a really enjoyable, a really well-crafted film with an excellent story, and I had a lot of fun. I haven't seen it in like, oh gosh, like 16, 17 years.
Wow.
And so I had a lot of fun going back and watching this. What
Cool.
are your initial impressions? Be gentle.
I didn't like this movie. I straight up, it was pretty bad.
What?
Now, I've got a whole preamble here that I want to get into because I am trying to be fair to this. So I already talked about, I've covered the points that it was, the book and the film was unheard of to me. And I touched on how well received it was by our voters. I want to tap into here. So on Rotten Tomatoes, by a critic score, it has 88%.
Yeah.
An audience score
Here.
of 80%. So a
Here.
little bit lower, but still strong.
Mm-hmm.
I went full homework on this when I watched some online reviews. I even went back to 1993 and watched an At the Movies Sissel and Ebert review. And they both gave it a thumbs up. So this movie got 2 thumbs up from them.
You're like someone were you like investigatively searching for what am I missing? Like
honestly, yes.
Someone convinced me.
That's the best way to articulate it. I was like, I didn't like this. People voted for this. Brady loves this. What am I missing? Honestly. And you listen, I adored the time period in general. And I usually don't mind. Actually, I also usually don't mind this time period in England as well. Like that's like 2 things that's like great. If you mix those 2 things, that's great.
It's good because otherwise you'd essentially be saying, "I really love this time period." Just for the love of God, not in England.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I think I would have preferred a story set in India. I loved about the first 5 minutes of this film exponentially way more. Aesthetically, like the opening music, I really enjoyed the color and the visual tones of the opening 5 minutes, and I felt like it would have been a more unique backdrop that I just had never seen before. So that I felt like I got really perked up, and then when it turned in, like I had no idea this would end up in England, so it was a surprise to me that we ended up in this English mansion. So
on the moor,
the moor. So when I was thinking there was a chance that this was all going to be taking place in England, I thought, wow, this is kind of unique. I've never seen this before. And then it turned out I still haven't seen that before. So I think it's just tough to critique because I actually, believe it or not, I'm not just saying this. I do have some interest in the underlying story. And I don't know if I have interest in checking out the other film or television adaptations of this because they seem to have varying levels of goodness. Like there's, I'm actually kind of intrigued to check out the 1911 one just from a historical perspective. But the more modern day ones, I don't know if there's any that would be more quote unquote well done than this one, just because, you've got Maggie Smith, you've got an actual production value, et cetera, et cetera. So my point is, I think my critique on this is not the underlying story or the book. It can't be the book because I've not read the book, but it's not so much the underlying story, but just the film to me really didn't hit with me. And I don't know why I'm so apart from literally everyone who loves this film. Mm-hmm. Well, I've got a couple ideas and we'll get into that later, but
I will say that the 1987 one, the TV movie one, it has an audience score of 78. It doesn't have. It's only got one review from a critic, so it's not. But the critic gave it a fresh, right? Like he did thumbs up it. Yeah. It is more. I don't know. Excuse me. This is me being half asleep. I don't know if it's a better film. I will tell you that, like right off the bat, it is more faithful to the book. So there are some strange changes to this film, and I don't know if they're I don't know if it was to like clean it up and make it more kid friendly.
Okay.
So like the biggest one for me, this was just kind of like, oh, this is like, I don't understand this change aside from it was maybe deemed not children appropriate. I'll read you the first couple of sentences here of the plot summary, and you tell me where you notice an immediate change.
Okay, here we go.
At the turn of the 20th century, this is the plot summary for the book, sorry, not the film.
Yeah.
At the turn of the 20th century, Mary Lennox is a neglected and unloved 10-year-old girl born in British India to wealthy British parents who never wanted her and made an effort to ignore her. Okay, so far we're tracking.
Yeah.
She is cared for primarily by native servants who allow her to become spoiled, demanding, and self-centered. Okay, perfect.
Checks out.
After a cholera epidemic kills Mary's parents, the few surviving servants flee the house without Mary. So in the book and in the 1987 one, it's cholera that knocks everybody out, which is actually far more like
traumatizing.
It's more traumatizing. It's got like some period historical accuracy.
Oh, interesting.
Like you can kind of buy into that and go, okay, yeah, for sure, right? Like cholera that'd be a real issue. And so it's actually, and then there's like a whole scene in the 1987 one where these soldiers find Mary and she's been like hiding out in this house, and there's like dead bodies around with like flies buzzing and like rotting food and stuff. Jeez. She's been like left in this house. She was completely abandoned, which kind of then helps justify some of Mary's attitude during this whole process. Like during going to, like, she's had a real rough go of it. Yeah, she's still a spoiled little brat, but you kind of, you know, like there's a little more to it than, and so that's the only thing that I can, you know, that it was more PG, that her parents leave the room and then everything just kind of starts shaking and then
it cuts
and then she's in London now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so I do recommend the 1987 one.
I do like it because it looks like, you got Colin Firth and a couple familiar faces in there. In the
1987 one? No, Colin Firth's in the new one, the 2020 one. Is he in the 1987 one too?
No, it might just be Google being Google.
Because that would be incredible.
Yeah, let me look it up. I'm wondering if, because I did type in the 1987 one, and for some reason his name...
you're just looking at you're not on like IMDb or anything.
No,
you're just looking
I'm just looking that up now.
Yeah, no, I kind of doubt it.
No, he's not.
But that would have been...
He is. Adult Colin Craven, Colin Firth.
Right. So they do, that's right. So the strange thing that they do in the 1987 one, which I don't believe is book accurate, is it's all kind of told years later. Like the beginning of the book and the end of the book, or the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie, it's like Mary's a grown-up now and she's going back and revisiting the garden. And while in the garden as an adult, she thinks back and reminisces. And the whole thing's kind of a, kind of like what they did with the Hobbit films, right? Where it starts out and it's modern day and Frodo's there bumming around like a moron and all this stuff. And then it's like, well, I may not have told you all of the truth. And then, we get 3 films of trash.
From a certain point of view.
Yeah, exactly. So
actually, okay, so you got Julian Glover, Colin Firth, and Derek Jacobi. So you got some familiar faces. I think if I were to check one out, the 1987 one would be the way to go.
I would, do it, man.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
So you don't like this. Tell me why you're wrong. And
okay. Okay. What I'll do is I'll run through, I've got like a quick grocery list of things that I think were poor, and then I'll just finish it off on like my actual problem with the film, because the you'll see my list is like being maybe a bit petty, maybe a bit funny, but I found it peculiar that like 2/3 way through the film, the Secret Garden wasn't that main of a plot point. Not to the point where I was expecting it to be. Like, I was just waiting for, like, I thought it was going to be magical, or they would be spending more time there. Like, for me, it seemed like it wasn't until the final third of the film where it really just kind of came to. So I just found that confusing. I don't know where else to put this. I just found it cringe, where the little sick boy's like, I want to marry. And she's like, but we're cousins. And he's like, I don't care. And I was like,
can I address that? Because
you can.
Because I watched this with Brienne, and Brienne was put off by that as well.
Weren't we all?
And it didn't bother me at all. And it is book accurate. And I think the two reasons, like my mentality around this dialogue is two things. One, they're 10.
I know they
and
don't
10-year-olds are stupid.
They just and they, like, even he goes on to say, like, I just want to be around you forever, like friends. So it's like,
yeah, and I don't mean that like like I know we covered this the other day, but your eldest child, how old is your eldest child?
Almost 4.
Right. And I mean this not rudely. I don't mean this in any disrespectful way whatsoever. But in the grand scheme of things, your 4-year-old is dumb. Your 4-year-old doesn't know. Your 4-year-old can't tell a good joke and can't, like they just don't get the world. I beg to differ.
Some of her jokes are funny.
But you know what I mean, right? Like,
yeah.
And so at 10, you just don't like. I remember being, or I don't know if I actually remember this or if it's just been told to me, but like in kindergarten, I had a quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes right now, I had a girlfriend that would come over and swing on my swings in the backyard and, blah, blah, blah. And the way my mom tells the story is, like me and this girl had a total plan to get married. Right? Like that was kind of it. And I haven't talked to this girl in like 20 years now, but and even though we weren't related, that was just as ludicrous. Like it was just as ridiculous. So that's one thing. The other thing is that this is the turn of the 20th century. This is like 1903 that this is set in. And although, yes, it would still be an issue, it sort of compounds the fact that they're 10 and that the idea of like now we have all this media, we have the internet, we have, blah, blah, blah. And the stuff that young kids are aware of nowadays is tenfold compared to what they were used to or aware of back then. I guarantee you go up to any kid in the early 1900s and you ask them to tell you what incest is, they have no idea. Right? Not the way that like kids, like the vocabulary of kids now and what they're exposed to and what they see and the jokes on the playground and the blah, blah, blah. And so to me, it wasn't a line that bothered me at all because I was like, they're 10, it's the early 1900s. So it's not like we're, nobody's making fun of other kids on the playground for being incestuous. Like it's just, it's just not a thing. It's a totally different time that this is set in. And there's parts of the world where, I don't know. I don't know the history of early 1900s England, but maybe you could marry your cousin. I don't know. It's not that far-fetched of an idea, right? Because things have changed so much. But so anyways, I just wanted to, because it bothered Brienne as well. So it wasn't just like you. No. She was like, "Oh, that's kind of weird," and I'm like, "Yeah, but it is. But it's just as weird as any other dialogue that hasn't aged well because it's
a different time,
contextually set in a different era." Yeah,
yeah. Those are all fair points. Cringe for me, but with the context, you have to break it back a bit. I found this funny, and I didn't know where else to put this, but this whole uncle bit where what a time to be a rich aristocrat. Like Literally, what does he do all day? Like, oh, I'll be away till winter. Like, doing what? Like, what?
Yeah.
What do you
bumming at some
actually,
hotel he goes to or something.
like, what do you do for 12 hours a day? Like, oh yeah. I back to like actual critiques of the film. The costume and design and the color tones I found quite average, and I think that's what I found disappointing. Other than the opening credits, everything from there was a little bit disappointing. And I found Maggie Smith was a bit misused or underused, and I guess I'd have to know a bit more specifically about her character from the book. But I just feel like in this movie, she's really one-dimensional for me. She's not heartwarming. She's only a menace, and I feel like it would have been interesting to have a bit more of a complex, maybe you peel away the layers and she becomes a bit more interesting. So I think that was a bit of a drop for me, aside from getting a hoot out of seeing her and, us valuing her presence in Harry Potter.
And so I think that is book accurate, though. That, like, the role of... So, like, what would have gone through Maggie Smith's head when being asked, do you want to take your crack at Mrs. Medlock? It would be, do you want to play this literacy semi-iconic villain? That it is a villainous role. She is the antagonist of this film, right?
Yeah.
Because even like there is no there's no redemption for her character. She doesn't come around, and she kind of does at the end, like she's smiling and happy, and she kind of has like a warming of her heart thing, but we don't really get to see that or dive into it because it doesn't really matter. She's kind of already played the role that she needs to. She's like, it's basically really the end of her character is Archibald Craven kind of telling her to go suck an egg, like realizing that, because she really is, she's Archibald Craven's suck up. Right, she's a total kiss ass, and so basically you have this story where Archibald Craven he's not a healthy man. He's not like sick. Like I don't understand why he's got a hump on his back, right? Which I mean, maybe it's like I don't know if I can't remember if they dive into this in the book. Maybe the guy's got a big tumor on his back. I don't know, right? We don't know why he's got a hunch. Yeah. And so it is possible that he's terminal, and that the fear is that if Colin gets the same hump, then I don't know. It's the early 1900s. I don't know what we knew about cancer and what we didn't. Right? It could be hereditary, or it's contagious, or it's whatever it is. But it's so basically my understanding of it, and I think the way it's presented in the book, is that it pains him too much to be around his child. Right? Like the loss of his wife,
for sure,
broke him. Mm-hmm. Completely in an unhealthy way. He never recovered from that. And so the idea that Colin is so sick has just been perpetuated by this, and has been it's kind of the lie that's being told in order to lock him away so that he can't be seen and can't tug on those heartstrings of Archibald Craven. And so Maggie Smith, being the suck up to Archibald, is kind of, this is the lie, whether she believes it or not. I think she does. She believes that Colin's sick. But she is, she's the enforcer, right? She's the witless jail guard that is just kind of there to enforce the rules and get in the way. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So I think my ultimate critique here could be summarized by saying I had trouble finding out what type of film this was. And again, I didn't know anything about the story, and I didn't want to know anything about it just because I wanted to be immersed in it and have it take me on its journey. So when I was watching this, I just had this confusion of what tone it was trying to take, and I just wanted to pick one tone and kind of lean into it. So there were moments of I was wondering if we were going to have some magic and some wonder, or some tones of some eeriness and spookiness. So we've got like spooky elements of the deceased aunt and this mystery of the mysterious garden, and then you've got, you know, the magical elements of like this garden itself that is able to grow, and you know, it's a mystery. And then you jump back into spooky elements where Mary's alone and is hearing someone crying in this mansion, and then you jump back and have this magical element of children learning, these three children specifically, growing together and supporting each other and helping each other to perform miracles of walking for the first time in their lives. And then you jump back into spooky elements of creepy dreams about mother saying, come to me, and the mother disappearing in a garden, you know. And I just felt like I really thought this movie would be going in a spooky direction, and then it would change directions, and then it would change back. And I just really had trouble finding a pulse. Mm-hmm. And I think I could have handled it a bit more if it had just leaned into one or the other, but all this jumping around was a bit too confusing for me.
Right. So, I mean, at its heart, the story is about relationships. It's about Mary's growth. It's about Mary coming and sort of through the process of changing herself, also being the savior to this father and son. And so the garden, although that's the title of the book, it's just a clever title for the book. Like
True.
The garden was only ever this MacGuffin that was sort of there as a plot furthering device. And interestingly, the 2020 version, which I have not sat through and watched, but have seen the trailer and have kind of skipped through. I think it's on Crave or something. I've like skipped through the film just to kind of see bits and pieces, to like watch the moments that I wanted to see. Like I wanted to see their take on it. And they took a much more, they like mystify it all. And it almost becomes like the magic garden instead of the secret garden. And that did absolutely nothing except for put me off of that film in a very big way. I was like, nope, this is trash. This is not what this story is. And so I saw that, and literally my thought was, oh well, they've missed the point. Right? They've missed the point. They don't know what this is supposed to be.
But then I'd argue that this movie's missed the point too, is with it then just focus it exclusively on relationships instead of having like weird at least what I perceived as weird spooky tones that for me were misdirecting.
Right. When I say that the 2020 version missed the point, I'm saying it like, my question is, did you even read the book? And so I think I would. So do you read? Can you read? Do you read?
I tried once, but it didn't work out well.
No.
Yeah,
I imagine it's just hard for you to find time to read, right?
Yeah, that's probably more it.
I very much want you to read this book. I think you would enjoy it thoroughly. Like I said, it's 375 pages. It's not a short book, but it's also not like a monster.
You know, if I read this book, I'm in my head gonna read it in like a British accent.
I would hope so. Yeah. Except for like a really thick like Irish accent from Martha. And you have to, because it's written that way. Like her dialogue in the book is like hard to read because it's written in this thick Irish. But yeah, so I don't know. Are you done crapping on this? Can I?
I am.
Okay.
I think the only crappy thing that I'll have left to say is when it makes sense, I'll go over my decent elements. But now that I'm looking at them, they're pretty few. Okay,
so I thought that on going back and watching it again and seeing it, for the first time in years, first time with adult eyes. The acting, like, for them being 10 years old, I was actually genuinely a lot of the time stunned by how good I thought the kids' acting was.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, yeah, quite often children acting can be so flat and emotionless and kind of one-dimensional and isn't really, you can't really get a pulse on what the emotion of the scene is supposed to be because they're really not that good. So the girl that played Mary was actually 10 at the time.
Interesting.
And the kid that plays Colin is a couple years old. He's like 13 or something like that. And then the kid that plays Dickon is a couple years older than that. I think he's like 15. Genuinely, Mary's acting, I was consistently pleased with it. I thought it was really, really impressive, and lended a lot to the film. So what, if anything, do you like about this film?
I thought my list was more extensive than it was, but
you're like, I like the font they used for the credits. That was
so. I actually, I feel like. I don't know what I even feel like here. I feel like when I'm trying to think of something nice to say to someone, but I can't think of something nice to say, so I'm like, well, I really like the way you wear sunglasses. It's just one of the things that I like about you.
Yeah. You tie your shoelaces like nobody else. What is that, a double Windsor? No? It's just a regular bow? Wow.
So it's two things. Oh my gosh. I just got to spit them out. There's nowhere else to say. I did like the setting of England, and I do find this time interesting. And I already said that at the beginning, but I do like the dreary, damp, rainy England. I just wasn't expecting us to go there when the movie started in India.
I just love that it's not even really an attribute of the film. It's just like that's the setting of the book, and so that's.
The other thing I think is more just like a reaction as a human being than actually about the film. So when Mary had a dream, and in the dream she was a toddler, and she was crying at her mother's departure, I actually almost cried, but I think it was more empathizing with a child missing their parent, and in that case a deceased parent. So like I think that was just more a human being reaction versus something that the film did well, because again I was wondering what the heck was going on with these bizarre kind of creepy dreams. So those are the two things that this film did well.
Well, I'm glad that you clarified, because for a second I thought you were like, and the other thing I really liked about this film was crying children. That'll save just about any film for me. If a kid is truly upset, like if I can tell that this toddler is heartbroken and just reeling inside from pain, then
that's a check mark right there.
I am definitely not getting up to go to the bathroom at that point. I am sticking this scene through because it may just save the film.
Free popcorn refill or not, I'm not moving.
I'm not. No, until the tears stop flowing, I'm not going. Yeah, that's it's dark. That's pretty dark.
Yeah, that's all I got. That's
all right. I got. Well, on a scale of 0 to 10, I shudder to ask. I truly shudder to ask. I'm genuinely fearful.
Oh man.
On a scale of 0 to 10, how would you rank the 1993 adaptation of the beloved classic novel, The Secret Garden?
Listen, if I was at the cottage and there was no Wi-Fi and it was raining outside and there was a VHS of this, I still don't think I would watch it. I'm not there. I was stuck.
Wow.
I did something I've never done before. I am going to give a half grade, like between two numbers. So I really wanted to give it a 3.
0.5.
0.5. I really wanted to give it a 3. I'm borderline maybe thinking about a 4. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 10. It's really a 3 on merit, but I'm a sucker for the ending where there was the whole resolution where the boys like walking around with a blindfold and the father walks in and like the boy walks into his arms. And I was a sucker. So I was like, you know what? I won't give you a 3. I'll give you a 3.5 out of 10. So 3.5 out of 10 just wasn't my cup of tea.
Ouch.
Yeah. What did you give it out of 10? Like, how many multiples of 3.5 did you give it out of 10?
I mean, oh man, I gave it an 8.5 out of 10.
Oh wow, almost 3 times my
Yeah,
score.
I mean, there's literally the only demerits to me is, and it's not necessarily an issue of the film. It's just kind of like, you know, your film's only an hour and 40 minutes long, so you know, what are you gonna do? But there's like the compression of time period, right? Where like Colin is an Olympic track runner in minutes from having never used his legs before. And so stuff like that in the film, I'm like, this kind of seems to like we're moving at a certain pace and everything's kind of tracking. And then there's like a 20-minute period where we just start going at a breakneck pace and things are happening really fast and we're just moving from plot point to plot point to plot point to plot point. You know, I don't know, aside from making the film 30 minutes longer, I don't know what you do. I don't know how you negate that. But it, you know, it is what it is. But I gave it an 8.5. I really like this film. I think it's fantastic. I think the performances in it are fantastic. I actually really like the costume design, so screw you. You know, but I thought the music was great. And which is interesting because I don't often pick up on that. In this type of film.
Not always, yeah.
But I did this time. And it actually won an award for its music. Not like an Oscar or anything. It won like a Film Critics Association award or something.
Yeah.
And Maggie Smith got nominated for a BAFTA for her role in this. So
Good for her.
I thoroughly enjoy it. I had a lot of fun. I'll definitely, you know, probably not for a while, but it's definitely something I'll watch again. You know, it'll be one of the things I raise my children on.
That's cool.
And so yeah, so screw you and your like crappy attack of this film. You jerk.
Listen, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's it. You don't even have anything. You're like, I'll justify. Nope, I can't.
I'm taking the polite road, and the next time someone offers or suggests I watch this film, I'll say, you know what? I'm going to watch Lost in Translation instead.
Oh, I don't know how. I often worry. I'm like, you know, I lay in bed at night. And I think to myself, how does anybody take our opinions seriously when Pete makes comments like that? When when he starts praising Lost in Translation and like, it's on my list of rewatches. I got to be honest with you.
It's actually, to be fair, it's on mine too, because I haven't watched it in over 4 years. I think it's just become like a comedic kind of joke at this point, just because I think it's a good film, and like intellectually that's what I remember, but I haven't watched it in so long, so I'm not sure if it may not hold up. I don't think I'll ever say it's a bad film. It just might not be amazing.
Well, I'll save you the time. It's not amazing. You don't have to.
It's pretty good from the last time I viewed it.
What'd you watch this week, sir?
3 things. I watched a film from 1998 called The Prince of Egypt.
Ah.
The DreamWorks film. Pre-Shrek. Well, this is what put them on the map.
Yeah.
Really. They're animated, obviously. Animated. And my holy Moses, the cast list.
Yeah.
Like, Val Kilmer, Ralph Fiennes, Michelle Pfeiffer, Sandra Bullock, Jeff Goldblum, Danny Glover, Patrick Stewart, Helen Mirren.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
I was gonna say Steve Martin, Martin Short, James Avery, apparently, and Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Is not in this, but the other names I mentioned were. Listen, I'm not going to say it's a perfect film. I gave it a 7 out of 10. This is a really interesting film, and it's a really good film.
And that's why in 1998 this film cost $70 million to make.
Ooh.
An animated film, because you had to pay all these guys.
Yeah. Well, and so here's the thing. The voice acting is great, don't get me wrong. But the reason this film is so interesting to me is, A, the animation is great. Phenomenal. Just visually breathtaking scenes for an animated film. Just sounds weird to say, but just like the visual landscapes of the cities and the desert scenes and just different, even things that push the story along. Like you'll see backdrops of like statues of other characters in front of characters talking that like adds context or meaning to something someone is saying. So just visually really good. And for a cartoon, this movie has no business being as good as it is. The amount of character depth that is given to all the characters, but specifically our main two, and Ramses and Moses. Like, I watched actual reviews and critiques comparing this to the 10 Commandments from 1963-ish.
Yeah.
And, you know, everyone has heard about it. It's a historically prominent film. And there's some things that this animated children's-based movie is actually just far superior. Like, just the amount of depth, probably what I wanted in Maggie Smith in this. You know, Ramses isn't just a one-dimensional bad guy who's maybe he should, like, he's enslaving people in this story that we're seeing. But you see him like with someone who has like character flaws, and you see him the way he has this like father complex going on and this love for his brother. And so in this story, he's a villain and you empathize with him.
Well, and you missed an important part about this. Hans Zimmer does the music. Like, this is not a nobody film, which is really impressive to me because this is a win. It's not like DreamWorks. This is the second film they ever made. And it's not like they were coming off of a win. Now they're like, okay, we got this massive budget. The only other film they'd done prior to this was Ants, which was just a blatant ripoff of A Bug's Life. It was DreamWorks opening a studio and saying, we can do that. And it was treated as such. Like, I remember reading this interview from John Lasseter, who was at the time was the head at Pixar. Because everyone, the people were like, you know, this is just a total ripoff of A Bug's Life. And John Lasseter was a part of, like, he dismissed Ants. And he said that he never saw Ants. And he claimed that if DreamWorks had made a film about anything other than insects, this is how pissed off Pixar was. If they had made a film about because Pixar's not a bunch of stuck-up jerks, right? Like, they like to support, you know, whatever. Yeah. He said if they'd made a film about anything other than insects, Lasseter would have closed Pixar for the day so that the entire company could go see it. But they decided to rip off A Bug's Life, and so Lasseter was like, no, go to hell. Screw you guys.
Jeez. So yeah, you know, you're right. Just to come out of nowhere from going to the Prince of Egypt, pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the cast now for Ants. What is it with DreamWorks, man?
Why? What's in Ants?
Well, just the first film that they'd ever made, right? And it's just this animated thing. Yep. Danny Glover.
Oh, he's in it too.
Woody Allen.
Oh, interesting.
Gene Hackman.
Oh, wow.
Sharon Stone, Sylvester Stallone,
Oh, wow.
Jennifer Lopez, Christopher Walken,
Okay.
Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, wow.
Like,
Yeah.
geez.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something that just kind of like continues on and on and on and on, right? Like next they did Road to El Dorado with Kevin Kline and Kenneth Branagh, and you know, so that seems to be their Elton John's in it, and so it's just their thing, I guess.
But I think the lightning in a bottle was for sure Prince of Egypt.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I watched. Oh, true. I watched 1992's A Few Good Men with our boy Timothy Cruise and Jack Nicholson.
Did you
and
say
Demi
Timothy
Moore.
Cruise?
I did.
That's the greatest and worst thing I've ever heard simultaneously.
Demi Moore, Kevin Bacon, Kiefer Sutherland for the Canadian content. You know what? I gave this a 6 out of 10. It was a fun, courtroom drama, and I feel like that's a genre that maybe isn't as predominant as maybe it was in the 90s or 2000s, but it was a fun view. Is it a great movie? No. Does it have an iconic scene that literally everyone has heard, whether in parody or in seriousness? Yes. And it's got some good acting, it's got some bad acting, it's got some good components, some bad components. But overall, I felt it was worth a view for my interest, so I gave A Few Good Men a 6 out of 10. Mm-hmm. And the last thing I watched, which you actually planted the seed for, is I watched 2000's The Road to El Dorado.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I was just on the DreamWorks bus after I watched Prince of Egypt, and, it is a step down. I actually liked it a bit more. I watched it in adulthood probably within the last 5 years, and I was a little sour on it.
Right.
But I watched it this time, and, I think I had dampened expectations going into it. I was going, this isn't going to be Prince of Egypt, and it wasn't. And for what it was, I thought, it's fun. The music is good. Elton John, with his touch points there. I think I was just buying the Elton John music. And I think just visually, I enjoyed it as well, too, just with like the jungle scenes, the vibrant gold scenes, the bright lights, the bright colors. So I think I was just in the, pardon me. I was just in the right zone to watch something that isn't as good as some of the other DreamWorks products, but it was fine for what I was wanting, and it wasn't bad. So I gave it a 6 out of 10.
I would have skipped that and gone straight to Chicken Run as their next.
I never grew up with that, so
neither did I.
Mind it,
but
I don't mind it, but I have no. Yeah, it doesn't pull.
I like it because it feels very Wallace and Gromit to me. Right? It's got that sort of stop motion animation
true
thing. It seems weird. DreamWorks, in the beginning they were like, the second movie they ever made was Prince of Egypt. And then after Chicken Run they did Joseph, King of Dreams. So they had like a biblical thing that they were rocking for a bit there.
And I've never seen that. So it obviously didn't fare as well, or I missed the boat on
now
it.
They just make stuff like How to Train Your Dragon and Madagascar and stuff. Like, I just find it interesting that like, and then they did in a short period of time, like in the course of 2 years, they released 2 biblical animated films, and then never returned to that well.
Yeah.
And again, oh my gosh, the Joseph, Ben Affleck plays Joseph.
Oh, jeez.
Mark Hamill's in it. Like, freaking DreamWorks, man. Where are you getting this money from?
Who did the work? Who did the music for Joseph, I wonder?
It is done by Daniel Pelfrey.
So maybe that's why we haven't heard of it.
You don't know Daniel Pelfrey?
I do not.
No. Well, doesn't surprise me.
What did you watch this week?
Just continuing on in the MCU stuff. So, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and Avengers: Age of Ultron were the 2 that I watched.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. James Spader as Ultron. Yep. So that was good. It was good. That's kind of that one's the one that's kind of a bit of a it's the first real upset to the MCU's canon, right? Because all of a sudden you've got the introduction of another Infinity Stone. You've got the introduction of Jarvis, or not of Jarvis. Jarvis is now implanted inside of this vibranium body, so he's now Vision. And so it's just like, it's one of those movies that kind of changes everything moving forward. It's like, if you missed that one, then you're left with a bunch of questions when you hop into the next one. You're like, what? Who the hell is this guy? What happened to Jarvis? What's this yellow stone we're all upset about? Like, what's, yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, that was, I think that was it. Listen, I have tracked down, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be on streaming services or the ability to rent or whatever, I have tracked down access to like 7 more iterations of The Secret Garden. And because I'm like, I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm on a kick now. Like, let's see. At the very least, I think the animated one's only like 40 minutes long or something. So I'm like, yeah, I could throw that on at some point and see.
Yep. See what it's got to say.
Yeah. I'll probably hate it, but you know. That's the thing, right? When like something's near and dear, you're so protective, right?
Yeah.
You become such a hard critic of, which is a shame because I think ultimately it leads to you not enjoying things in the way you could or should, right? Because you're like, oh, it's not going to be any good because it's not exactly what I think it should be, and so now I hate it, and so, but yeah. It's hard to say. Anyway, sir, wrap it up.
Perfect. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for joining us today. Check out our socials below. Like, follow, subscribe. Give us a good rate and review. Give us a like and a comment. Let us know what you think. And check out our Patreon page. It's a way for you to support the show and for us to give you some perks back. Check out our merchandise page. And check out our socials for upcoming votes. And stay tuned for more episodes, more movie news, and more wholesome goodness.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say. You nailed that. That was beautiful. Did you rehearse that?
I did in my secret garden.
Honestly, when I do the outros to like the news show and stuff with Carl, it's like the most stressful bit for me. I'm always like, I don't want to do this. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say it.
What are we gonna do?
Yeah, sucks. I need to get you to like pre-record. Actually, honestly, I'll just steal your audio from. I'll be like, okay, Pete, take it away, and then I'll play the clip at the end of every episode.
I just pretend that I'm sitting in the episode the whole time and be like, what do you think, Pete? Oh, you got a mouthful of food. Okay, we'll get back to you later.
Yeah, sorry, Matt Damon. We ran out of time. We didn't have a chance to get to you, blah, blah, blah.